a little bit early. I've popped on just a tad early. So hopefully there will be many people joining me this morning. How are you all? I hope you're all well. I hope you're all staying safe. I hope you're all not too insane with this social distancing happening. And I hope you're all having a fun Easter weekend because after all, I love Easter. It's probably one of my most favorite times of the year. And I love chocolate. So of course it has to be a favorite time of the year when you love chocolate. So I'm just checking here to see. I've got it up on my iPad. Okay. Can I can't share it to anywhere else, but I'll just share it to there. So welcome. I can see a few of you popping on. Hey, Sharon, Wendy, Debbie, thank you very much for popping on and having a fun crafting morning with me. So who that's watching, who's crafting at the moment? Who's got their craft gear out and what are you making? Tell me what you're making. Tell me what you're having fun with. I've got a few little different things to share with you today. I'm just trying to get my iPad somewhere where I can be set up pretty well and see those comments without, there we go. Hello, Linda, Kathleen, Catherine, Glenda, Pam, Fiona. Fiona, thank you. Good morning from Queensland. Patty, hello, everyone. So thank you for joining me. I've got some fun stuff that we're going to play with this morning. I decided that I actually put a little bit of planning into it this morning. So hopefully it's as entertaining as it should be. Please feel free to share my video. So share it back onto your Facebook, onto your social media sites so that that helps get more people aware that I'm live and that they may want to join in on some crafting fun. So it's a nice break to be able to have some crafting fun away from thinking about the COVID-19 virus. We are so fortunate to have crafting in our lives. So if you're new and you've just popped on for the first time, please tell me that you're a new watcher. I love finding out that I have new followers. I love all of my loyal followers that I have all the time. But please tell me that it's your first time watching. I love finding that out. And tell me where you're watching from. And as I said, please share my video back onto your social media sites. And that, as I said, helps get the message out there that I'm crafting and I'm having a bit of fun. So I'm doing a little bit of a different thing. I've been asked several times about embossing on vellum. Can you emboss on vellum? And the answer is yes, you can emboss on vellum. And our vellum is absolutely beautiful. So I just want to introduce myself now that there's quite a few of you on. My name is Donna Gray. I'm a Stampin' Up demonstrator from the Northern Rivers area in New South Wales, Australia. I sell all crafting products. So anything that you need for your crafting habit, if you're new to crafting and you're just starting out, I help you with working out what supplies you need to get started to do some card making. If you're an avid crafter, I can help you with all of those supplies that you simply must absolutely have to have. So I can see there's quite a few of you that are crafting and quite a few of you that are popping in and saying hello. So good morning and welcome to my YouTube channel. Okay, so let's stop the chatter and let's get the camera turned around, and bear with me here because I have my setup totally different and my knob for flipping my camera around is on the opposite side to where it normally is. So I'm going to have to fix that. Every time I go live, I think about it after the fact that I've gone live, and then I realize and I'm like, oh, I should have fixed that. But anyway, there we go. So we're zoomed in a little bit. Okay, so what I wanted to use this morning was our gorgeous ornate garden. So you've probably seen many people using this gorgeous new suite that we have available. It's called the Ornate Garden Suite. There's 2 bundles in it. So we have the ornate style and the ornate thanks. And it is absolutely a stunning set of stamps and framelets. The beautiful flowers are gorgeous. So we're actually going to emboss with some vellum today to show you that it is very easily to emboss on our vellum cardstock. Now our vellum cardstock is a lot thicker than what other vellum. I've used vellum of different companies over the years, but ours is quite thick, so it's quite sturdy and quite thick, so it's very good for embossing on. So I'm going to get into this. So I've got a bit of a design in my head of what we're going to do. So I'm going to bring in a scrap piece of paper because I need to be able to catch my embossing on the scrap piece of paper, and I've been embossing here this morning and having a lovely time. So, and that's probably very hard to see. I might actually, no, that's all right. It's probably very hard to see because it's white on white, but so when we're embossing, first of all, we need our embossing buddy. Now our embossing buddy is a little powdery pillow that it takes all of the static off our sheet of cardstock, or in this case our vellum, so that we don't have embossing powder sticking to something that it shouldn't be sticking to. Now I'm going to use my Versamark ink, and my Versamark ink is a clear sticky ink. So what it actually does is it creates a little bit of a watermark on your cardstock, and then we use a white embossing powder to heat over the top so it will stick. So this is a fairly big stamp. So one of the main things, it's got quite a bit happening in that center part. So make sure you press down really nicely on that center part. If you are a little bit worried about not stamping it correctly, maybe your Stamparatus might be an idea to actually use your Stamparatus to be able to do repetitive stamping if you miss any bit. But as long as you press it down pretty well onto your vellum, you should be fine. Now you probably can't see that in the video because of the vellum, but once I tip my white embossing powder on it, you will see the image appear. Okay, so this white embossing powder is just going to stick to the vellum ink that we've just popped on, to the Versamark ink that we've popped on there. So you can see there, we have our gorgeous white powder all on our vellum cardstock. So I'm now just going to, with my scrap piece of paper, pop that white embossing powder back into the container so I don't get it everywhere. I will pop my sheet of paper behind me so that I remember, because I'll be doing a little bit more embossing this morning than just this one. And now I'm going to bring in the heat tool. Now, I always heat from behind, and just remember that with embossing on vellum, the heat is going to transfer through the vellum a lot quicker than your cardstock. So the beauty of it is it actually just reacts with the heat a lot quicker. So it's actually a quicker process of doing heat embossing. Can you see that white appear there? Okay, so that's the only one thing to take into consideration, is that it will heat a lot quicker. So don't tend to hold your heat gun in one spot for any length of time. You don't want to burn your embossing powder, and you don't want to burn your vellum. Okay, so I heat from behind. That's how I do my embossing. And the reason being, it doesn't blow the embossing powder around, and you can see as you go, you can see that embossing turning creamy and beautiful and smooth. And as I say all the time, I finish off just on the top a little bit, but as I say all the time, you can never ever get sick of seeing that heat embossing happen. It's just like magic. So I'm actually going to, it is a little bit of a shame, but we don't have a framelit to cut this out with this new set, but it doesn't take long to fussy cut around. So I'm just going to fussy cut around this whole image, which it will take me a little bit of time, but we can be chatting as I fussy cut. So I leave a little border all the way around, and as you can see, I'm moving my vellum. I'm actually not moving my scissors. I'm actually moving the vellum to be able to cut around this gorgeous stamped image. But you can see that the stamped image on the vellum comes out absolutely beautiful. Hello everyone, thank you for joining. So let's hope that we can beat our 100 viewers that we had last week. Let's see if we can get to maybe 110 this morning. Do you think that's going to be possible? And the way that that's going to happen is for people to share the video. So share the video back onto Facebook, share it onto your social media platforms, and we may be able to get some more people watching. Or if there is someone that you know that might be interested in watching my crafting, just copy the link from your YouTube and share it into Messenger, and they will be able to jump on and be able to watch my crafting as well. So thank you, Clayfan. Clayfan said that they've shared. Thank you very much. So what have you all been crafting during this this social distancing? What have you been working on? Hey Linda, how you going? Hey Cheryl Lee, how you going? Hey Glenda. Oop. And my iPad just decided to ask me a question. Okay, so then you will get this gorgeous piece that we've fussy cut out. You've been working on cards. I taught you, Christine. Well done. Thank you very much. Cards for nursing homes. Okay, so I'm going to take my bone folder and I'm actually going to curl this over, because we don't, you can see how it's curling up. We don't actually want it to curl up on our project. So it will do that because of the heat embossing. It will do that also when you cut it. So I just grab my bone folder and I curl it like that, so that when we're actually going to glue it to our project, it's going to be curled down, not curled up. Okay, scrap dawning for your daughter, Helen. Okay, so I have a piece of Whisper White thick cardstock here. I've cut it at 5 3/4 by 8 inches. I've scored at 4 inches and folded in half for my card base. And I thought what I wanted to do was do a really beautiful soft card. So I've done a few things ahead of time just to save a little bit of time. So I've got our gorgeous purple posy. Now purple posy, we can't get the ink pad, but we still can get the blends. We can still get the cardstock. So it's still a gorgeous color to use. I love the softness of it. So I thought I would do that as a layer. So this layer here is cut at 3.5 by 5 1/4. And then I have another layer here that I have cut, and it's the same size, so we need to cut that down. I did think I had it cut smaller, but obviously I didn't. Oh, unless I've got the other card front. Anyway, I'll cut it down anyway. I'll grab my trimmer. Okay, so we have 5 1/4 by 3.5. So we want to cut it down to just 3 3/3. Okay, by 5 1/3. And that way we're going to get a slither of, and I didn't think that would work. Oh, we're going to get, okay, I'm going to bring in my little mini trimmer if I can find my mini trimmer. Where is that? I'm just going to trim this off camera, sorry. There it is. Okay, I'm not going to trim it off camera. I'm going to bring in my little baby cute mini trimmer, which I should have done in the first place. That's what I should have used. But anyway, it's okay. We will get it done. Now, the only reason that that happened was because this was a pre-embossed piece of cardstock. But that's okay. We fixed it. And I think I might just trim that a little bit as well. It's all good. Beautifully trimmed. And we have no hassle there. Okay. So So I'm then going to mount that. Oh, I have torn that a little bit. But anyway, we will forget that that's there. So we're going to mount that onto our gorgeous purple posy with our liquid glue. So I might be able to salvage that by just popping the glue into it and no one will know. There is no mistakes in crafting, remember? So even though it looks like I made a mistake, I really didn't. If I had have cut my pieces to the right size, that never would have happened. Because very rarely will I cut a piece of cardstock that's already been embossed. All right, so there you go. And you would never know. So we have that gorgeous piece there. You're trying to decide, say Cindy said she's trying to decide which masculine stamp set to use for the hubby's birthday card. Did you get the well-dressed stamp set that was the celebration stamp set? The well-dressed is an awesome male theme orientated stamp set. So I've got some of our gorgeous celebration vellum that we had. So I think I want to pop that on there, and then I want to pop my gorgeous flower over the top. So that's looking pretty nice. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to, just with some glue dots, I'm going to pop some glue dots on the back of this vellum for it to be able to sit on that card front. So I normally pick somewhere that has like one of those dots. It's actually not too bad, this vellum. You can't really see the glue dots through it because of the embossing, which is really good. But I'm just going to pop a glue dot in each corner of that vellum. Okay, and then we can pop that onto the front of our card just at a nice little angle, like so, just to offset the front and have a little bit of difference on the front. I'm then going to pop that up onto dimensionals. Your dad's birthday is on the 18th as well. My birthday is the 17th of April. All good people are born in April, just saying. I don't actually really even know what I'm going to be doing for my birthday. Probably nothing much. I mean, I've got my family home here with me. We're all here. So I'm sure that we will just have a nice special dinner. And really, I've had many years of celebrating my birthday. I'm lucky it's not. I had my big 50 birthday last year. So it's not actually a big milestone birthday. It's just 51. But yeah. Okay, so I'm just going to now place that on the front of my card like so. I'm then going to, I think I'm actually going to pop this up because I want to do, actually no, I'm going to glue dot it down, and then I'm going to do a thanks in the middle. So I'm just going to pop some glue dots on the back of this. So I think with this, I'm going to just pop them in the middle of the flowers so that we don't really see where those glue dots are going. So I'm just popping them into the hearts of the flowers. And I think I'll pop one right in the middle there. And one right in the middle of that one there. And maybe one on that one on the outside there. Okay. So I'm just going to pop that nicely on there, like that. Okay, and then I'm going to take a scrap piece of paper. Now, I tried this with the purple posy and it didn't work. Because as you know, the purple posy, I have a purple posy, I have 3 purple posy ink pads actually, and it didn't work. It wasn't, it just was, yeah, not a good color, hence why they took it away and we can't actually use it. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm just going to stamp off with Highland Heather to get a lighter version of Highland Heather, because I did try it with the Highland Heather and it was too dark. So I'm just going to, I'm going to stamp off once. So I'm going to stamp there, and then I'm going to stamp the real one here on that side. Now this piece of Whisper White is just a scrap piece of my Whisper White. So you can see here, we've got that beautiful, soft, thanks by stamping the second time without re-inking, all right? So then it's going to match our purple posy a lot better. Okay, so I'm then going to take that and trim that off because I don't want that one. I'll pop that aside because I probably will use it on another project. And then I'm going to bring in my handy dandy little trimmer again. And I'm going to trim that down because I don't want too much of my flower missing. So when I say I don't want to cover too much of my flower. So I'm going to use my handy dandy little trimmer. And I'm going to line that up there. And I'm going to trim that part off. I'm going to turn it around. And I'm going to trim the other side off as well. So I'm going to line it up nicely there and trim that side off so that we've cut that down to a really nice thinner sentiment layer. I'm going to cut that end off there because I don't need it. So I'm going to cut that end off because it's nice and easy with my little trimmer to get it nice and straight and even. So we'll cut that end off. And then I'm going to bring in my triple banner punch and I'm just going to banner the end of that thank you. Oh, you did have the best catch. You're going to make it for him for Father's Day, and 52nd Annie is shortly after Father's Day. Okay. All right, so, and I'm just going to banner that end. So we've got our beautiful thanks sentiment there. And I'm just going to pop that here in the center up on dimensionals. And then I have some of our gorgeous white baker's twine because I liked that, and I liked the simplicity of it, but I thought it just needed a little bit more. So I decided that I would take my white baker's twine and double it. And I find it best when I'm going to do a double bow like this to cut those ends so I don't get confused in which is the loop that I want to do. So I'm just going to tie a little bow. And as usual, being on live TV, sometimes the bows don't quite want to work for us the way we want it to, but haven't done too bad. Okay, so I just want a small little bow, but it's a double bow, and I'm just going to cut off some of them and just pop it down below. And I just think that that little bit of baker's twine just really sets it off. Okay, so I'm just going to grab that on a glue dot and just pop it down below. Okay. And you could, if you wanted to, take a few of our gorgeous pearls and just pop a few pearls around just to set that off. So I think I'm just going to use one there, another little one here, and maybe another little one just down there. So there you have a super quick, easy card and embossing on vellum. So you can see that the vellum really holds up really well with that heat embossing, all right? So then that got me to thinking, and I decided that I wanted to make another card using that vellum technique, but to show you something a little bit different of what we could do. So ahead of time, I've actually heat embossed another one and fussy cut it out. And I'm actually going to use a piece of black cardstock, and I'm going to turn that heat embossed vellum over, okay? So I can see, and I'm using the black cardstock in behind so I can see where I want to actually color with my blends. So this gives a really gorgeous look. I was so pleased when I did my sample. So I'm going to use, I've got mint macaron and I've got flirty flamingo. So two really nice colors, but it will give us a really gorgeous soft look. So I'm going to go through with my dark, and I'm just going to do in the leaves where I would normally do, and I'm going to colour on the back, okay? Now you're probably thinking, why in the world is she colouring on the back of this cardstock? But when I turn it over, you will see the reason why I'm doing it on the back. So I've got the dark there in the veins of the flowers. I'm going to go back and I'm going to fill in with the light. Okay. And I'm going to grab my scrap piece of paper because I want it, my scrap piece of white, because I want to show you what that looks like when we turn it over. Okay, can you see that? Can you see the softness of that colouring? Sorry, and it's made that flick. Maybe even just with my hand. Maybe you can see just with my hand underneath. Can you see the softness of the colouring in behind there? Okay, so it's going to create some really beautiful soft shading. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to colour all that. So it will take me a little bit of time to add all the colour in. I'll try and be as quick as I can. Now the thing is about colouring like this on the back, you don't have to be too particular because some of your colouring hides in, whoops, I just did some mint macaron where I shouldn't have. Some of the colouring hides in behind your white embossing. So if you go over the line by mistake, you can actually probably physically get away with it. So you don't have to worry about it too much in that respect because, as I said, you can get away with it. So it's not, oops, and I just coloured that petal in again. We'll treat it as though it's a leaf. Okay, so I've done the leaves all that way. All right. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back and I'm going to do some of the flowers. So I'm going to take my dark Flirty Flamingo, and with the dark I'm just going to shade out towards the center on, I actually kept saying that these were daisies, and then I was listening and watching someone the other day and they called them a gerbera. So it could actually be a gerbera. I don't know, daisies and gerberas look very much the same. So, so I'm roughly colouring now in the centers of those small flowers. But as you can see, I'm not really taking my time as far as my colouring. And I'm going to do the same thing with this one. So I'm going to colour out in the center. This one here looks like a chrysanthemum to me, but I could be wrong. Okay, so I'm just colouring in the middle and out towards the outside. And then I'll go back through with my light Flirty Flamingo and I will just colour in the rest. Now you're going to see this gorgeous colour appear when I turn it over and how gorgeous and soft and pretty it looks. This is, honestly, if you're just starting out with colouring, this is a way of cheating a little bit with your colouring, but you get such a gorgeous effect. Okay, now I'm going to take the black away. I'm going to bring in my card base that I'm ready to do, and you will see the magic appear. Okay, all right. So I have a Whisper White card base that I'm going to use, and I have some mint macaron because that's the colouring that I was using. But can you see that now? Can you see how pretty that coloured image is when you sit it on the white? Isn't that just stunning? It is. It's a little bit like lead lighting. Exactly, Helen. Exactly. That's the type of look that it's going to give you. All right, so what I'm actually going to do is I've embossed this layer with the gorgeous embossing folder, and yes, I did cut that layer right. Okay, so we're going to pop that onto our mint macaron. Now, the reason that I've done just that very fine border of the mint macaron in behind is I wanted to keep the softness of this card. So I didn't want that mint macaron overpowering too much on this card. So you can see it gives a hint of that mint macaron, but it doesn't overpower it too much. All right, so I've got that, and I've got my gorgeous flower that I'm going to pop on the front. So then I've got a piece of mint macaron, and I thought, while I've got the white embossing out, I may as well emboss a sentiment. So I'm going to rub over with my embossing buddy. I'm then going to, I think I'm going to mount up a couple of sentiments on one block, if I can find the size block I'm looking for, that one there. So I think I'm going to mount my thanks. I need to clean that because that had purple Highland heather on it. Okay, so I think I'm going to mount my thanks, but I also want to do maybe ever so much. Can I find it? I have a hard time seeing these little tiny stamps. Ever so much. I think that one there is it. Okay. So I want to mount those up just like that for my card. Okay. So I'm going to grab my Versamark ink again and ink those up. I'm going to grab my Pierce mat, which I had just here, and now I've misplaced. Oh, there it is in my basket. So I'm going to grab my Pierce mat just to make sure that this stamps really nicely on my Pierce mat. All right, so I've got thanks ever so much. So I'm going to stamp that up towards the top here and over in the corner. Okay, so thanks ever so much. And that looks okay. All right, so I'm going to grab my white piece of paper again just to catch that embossing powder. Okay, so we have that. And I'll pop the rest back in. And we will heat emboss that layer. Okay, so my heat gun. And I'm just going to heat that. So I always heat from underneath, once again, on the second heat setting so that you've got it on the hottest heat setting. And there you can see it starts turning creamy and smooth when it heats that powder into that Versamark ink. Okay, so we have that. Now, I was watching Emma Goddard, and she did this with one of the sentiment layers on one of her cards, which I thought was absolutely stunning. We have a framelit in our ornate thanks, and they're all edging border framelits. So what she did was she lined up this border. It cuts like a beautiful scalloped pattern. So she lined it up underneath. And I actually thought it was a fantastic way of just making a sentiment layer a little bit prettier. Okay, so I'm just going to grab my Big Shot. And bring it in. Hopefully that's not too close. And my poor phone has drooped in my in my holder. Okay, so that's a bit better. All right, so we have one cutting pad here. We're going to pop that sentiment in there, and we're going to cut this gorgeous layer at the bottom of that sentiment layer. Okay, so just like that. And grab a cutting pad. My poor old cutting mats, they've been getting a lot of work lately, so I really need to get some new ones. Okay, so we're going to cut that border along there. Okay. And we have that. Isn't that just simply gorgeous? Beautiful. All right. So I'm going to pop that out of the way. And I'm probably going to bring in that cute little mini trimmer of mine again. If you didn't get the mini trimmer, I'm hoping that Stampin' Up actually sell them as an item because I love my little mini trimmer. And we were only able to, as a demonstrator, we were only able to get one, and that was it. And honestly, I would have loved way more than just one, that's for sure. So I'm just going to take that and cut that off, just like that. And we have a gorgeous sentiment layer that we can pop onto our card. I'm just going to, that one little bit there, I'm just going to trim that off. Okay. And that looks super, super cute. So I'm now going to apply those onto my card. And I have a little partial flower that I've done here. So I actually probably might use that on the inside of the card. So once again, I'm going to grab my glue dots and I'm going to pop some glue dots in behind just the centers of those flowers. You can hide them in behind that. And no one will ever know that there is glue dots in behind those. Okay. Maybe one in the middle there. All right. So I'm thinking I want my flower just to go like that. Okay. And then I think I want to pop that sentiment up just over towards that side. So we'll grab some dimensionals for that. Who hasn't got this set? Who that's watching hasn't purchased the Ornate Garden Suite yet? Type in the comments and let me know whether you haven't got it yet and whether it's on your wish list. I actually have an online class this month with these gorgeous 2 bundles. So you may know that Rose Ward and myself do online classes together. And this is our monthly online class for the month. So I did the Ornate Thanks bundle and Rose did the Ornate Style bundle. And I must say, you haven't, Sue, but you need it. You do have it. Maureen saying not yet. Eileen saying I have not gotten it yet. Okay, you have it, but you struggle with the die cuts. Okay, Christine, what is it that you're struggling with the die cuts about? The intricate die cuts, that they are so intricate. Sharon says still deciding. If it's because they're intricate and they're not cutting out properly, Christine, my idea is flip them over and put the cutting blades up. Pop your cardstock on top and cut them upside down. Yes, and run them backwards and forwards through a couple of times, Christine, because they will have a tendency to do that. Okay, so I'm going to create a beautiful insert for this. I haven't got a layer for the inside, so do I have a spare one here? I think I do. Yes, that is correct. All right, so what I'm actually going to do is I'm just going to fussy cut this out, and I'm going to use it as a corner accent on the insert of my card. So I'm bringing some of that front to the inside of my card, which is what I always like to do. So bear with me while I fussy cut once again. I was really excited about my live this morning because I I've been having a bit of a play with lots of things, which has been fantastic. I've really needed to do that. And I've actually been not only using these new products that have just been released, but delving back into the annual catalogue, which I think sometimes when we have the mini catalogue, we tend to forget a little bit about our annual catalogue. And there's so many beautiful things in our annual catalogue that sort of get pushed a little bit to the back burner. So I've actually been delving back into the annual catalogue and checking out to see some of the things that I haven't used for a while, some of the things that I haven't maybe used very much, that I've used it a little bit but not a lot. So I'm now going to, with my glue dots, I'm going to pop that on the insert of my card. I probably didn't need it that big, but it was a scrap piece that I was playing around with the colouring before I did the live video, making sure of how I wanted to colour it and what I wanted to do. So I don't want to waste it. So I think if I just do this for the insert of the card, then I'm making use of my little sample. Okay, so I think that's quite good. All right, so I'm just going to line up that cut edge with the corner of my card. And look at that. How gorgeous is that for the insert of the card? I must say, I was over the moon with this morning. I was like, this is just so pretty. Hello, Priscilla. How are you? Thank you for joining. Hello, Kim from USA. Thank you for joining. Helen's saying that she hasn't got it yet. Hey, Cherylee, how are you? It looks really pretty, doesn't it, Jenny? I agree. I was like, that is just so soft and yummy. It's gorgeous. All right, so we're going to do that for the insert. And then for the front, I think I'm going to pop that up on dimensionals. Okay, so what happened, Jenny? You were saying that you've been away because you had water damage. How did you have water damage? What happened? Okay, was it from rain or was it from a burst pipe? Okay, so we've got some dimensionals on the back there. Now I'll pick those off. Okay, and pop that on the front. I am so in love with these bundles. It's not funny. I have to keep stopping myself from using them because I keep wanting to use them all the time. So once again, I'm going to bring in my baker's twine and I'm going to make a double bow again. One of the other things is if you don't have white baker's twine but you have our white flax ribbon, you can actually pull the flax strips apart and you can actually use it just like baker's twine as well. So if you were thinking that you don't have any white baker's twine but you wanted to do something like this and you have that white flax ribbon, then you can use your flax ribbon instead. All right, so we've got that happening there. So I'm thinking a cute bow, maybe just there. What do you think? I think that looks cute. Trim them off a little bit and grab a glue dot. Oh, that's totally okay, Cherylee. No problem whatsoever. Okay, and I'm just going to pop that down there. Now, once again, I think they're a little bit long, so we'll trim those off a little bit. So I want something as an embellishment on there. So I'm going to bring my pearls in. And you know me, I'm going to use my dark mint macaron. And I'm going to colour some of those pearls with my dark mint macaron. So you can see there, you can go over it a second time if you like. But you can see there, just by colouring them, that you can then match your project. So the beauty of pearls is, when you've got our blends, you can make the pearls match any of your projects whatsoever. So I'll pop one there. I'll pop another one just in here. I think I'll pop that one just down there. So there you have another beautiful card using the embossing on vellum. So if you haven't tried embossing on vellum before, give it a go, because as you can see, it's very easy to do, and it's no different to embossing on your normal cardstock. It's just the heat reacts a lot quicker. So it actually just heats and melts quicker than normal. So that's about the only thing I can say about it. So you will have no problem if you want to emboss with vellum. Okay, all right. So I'm going to bring in another bit of fun here this morning. And I've been having a bit of a play around with some watercolor paper. So I have some of our fluid paper here, and I have 3 ink colors. I have Bermuda Bay, I have Gorgeous Grape, and I have Pretty Peacock. And I've got some card bases there, and I've got the Pretty Peacock, the Royal Peacock stamp set. So I thought I would have a little bit of a play around with this gorgeous stamp, because I absolutely loved this stamp set when it came out. It was one of the first things on my wish list when it came out. I was like, I simply have to have that. So, okay, sorry, I missed Jenny. Sorry, Jenny, what was it that happened? I'm trying to see what you said happened. It says here, we had it planned out that one side of the unit was to be redone, vinyl throughout the house on the first day, and the second half of the house to be done too. The floor guys came in and said we're going to do it this way regardless of what they were told. Totally blocked your access to the house, closed recliners. We were out on the front footpath in your PJs. Jenny, that is not good. Okay. So what I'm actually going to do is I've got a piece of our fluid watercolor paper here, and I'm actually going to just load a lot of water just onto this piece of watercolor paper. Okay, so I want to load a fair bit of water on here, that we've got lots and lots of water happening. All right, so then what I'm going to do is I'm going to squeeze the lids, so I've got some ink in the lids of that paper. Oh, sorry, in the lids of my ink pads. Okay, so I've got some ink to pick up. You can use your re-inkers in your ink pads if you have a hard time squeezing those lids. So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick up some of the purple, and I'm just going to drop the purple in the middle. Can you see how lovely that gorgeous purple is? Okay. And then I've got my chamois right beside me to clean my chamois. I'm then going to grab some of the Pretty Peacock, and we're going to drop the Pretty Peacock up the top here. Okay. And then down the bottom here, we're going to drop in the Bermuda Bay. Okay, so you can see how it's actually running to the sides of our cardstock. And that's okay, because what I'm actually going to do is I'm just going to go through with my chamois, and I'm just going to hold my chamois on those edge bits just to soak up some of that water. Okay, so just hold your chamois on those edge bits, and that will soak up the water. So just like that, soaking up that water. Okay, you can even do it with maybe some paper towels. I just find the chamois okay, it works, and it's totally okay. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to heat that and dry that, because I'm going to go back over it with some other colors. I'm getting close to that 100. Look, I'm at 91. Share the video, people, so that people can see what I'm doing. We're at 91. We need 9 more people to reach the 100 mark. You love the colors, Jeanette? Yes. It's really pretty. Now the reason that I laid the ink down in the first place, the water down in the first place, is to be able to get your ink to spread really easy. Okay? So we've got that and we've dried that one off. All right. So we're going to go back through. I'm just going to press a little bit more ink into my ink pads, into the lids. So we've got some more ink there. We've got some more ink happening here. And some more in that one. Okay. So we're going to go back through again with our aqua painter. We're going to make a nice watery mix in our lid. And we're going to go back over again where we popped that colour down before. And this is just going to give us a richer colour. It's going to give us a few different layers happening as well. So you're going to be able to see where we've got some different layers happening on it. Okay, so we've got that one done. Then going to go back in with my pretty peacock with a bit of a watery mix. And up through the pretty peacock at the top. And don't be scared, you can overlap, it's totally okay if they overlap. But don't be scared to really get in with your ink. It always dries a lot lighter than what it is. Yes, it is watercolor paper, Bev, yes. And down here with our Bermuda Bay. And don't be scared, as I said, to even run into those colors that you're gonna blend them a little bit. You get a couple of different color tones by running into those colors a little bit. So once again, I'm going to take my chamois and I'm going to blot up some of those excess water on the outside. Okay, and I'm going to come in with that heat gun again, and I'm going to heat that again. Hello, Henny. Good morning. How are you? It's probably good evening for you. Thank you for joining. Thank you, Joanne, for sharing. So who on here, who's watching my videos for the first time? Type in the comments and let me know if you're a new person watching my live crafting. If you're a person that watches all the time, just type in the comments that you always watch or something like that. All right. So now what I'm actually going to do is, it's your first live with me, Rhonda. How are you enjoying it? Are you liking the fact that you can chat with me while I'm live? I know that that's what a lot of people say, that they love the fact that they can chat and it feels like they're in the craft room with me. Helen says she always watches. Yes, Helen is an avid watcher of mine. You're fairly new, but you're addicted so far, Christine. I know. I'm showing you lots of different things, aren't I, Christine? Glenda always watches. Denise says that she's a regular. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I've dried that again. So now I'm going to go back through and I'm going to do a little bit of a crazy thing here. You're going to go, why is she doing that? I'm actually going to fill up my aqua painter and I'm going to drop some drops. And I want some fairly big drops, and I'm dropping drops of color that are different. So I'm putting the purple in the greens, okay? I'm going to do that. I'm then going to take some of the pretty peacock and I'm going to drop it, just some big drops into the purple down here. And you're going to think, what in the world is she doing with this now? Okay. So dropping those in. Okay. And then I'm going to take my Bermuda Bay and I'm going to drop some of those in around too as well. Okay. All right. I told you I've been playing. I've been having a lovely time playing with these inks. Oops, and I just stuck my finger in my ink pad and I just put my other ink pad in my ink pad. All right, let's get them out of the way. All right, so now I'm going to bring in my heat gun, and this is where you're going to be watching some fun stuff happening. You're going to get the bubbles, and you're going to shoot the bubbles all around the place. All right, so we're going to follow those bubbles and we're going to shoot them around the place. So where the big bubbles have been sitting, you're going to get some white marks, and that's totally okay. But we're going to shoot these bubbles all around on our cardstock. And it's okay if they mix and match in together, but we're just going to shoot them all across the cardstock. And go with it. When they start running, go with it. Oops. And there goes my iPad. Whoops-a-daisy. All right, so we've still got some of those bubbles that are moving around. Move your cardstock around and get in behind them and get them to run wherever they want to run to. Okay. So you can see we're creating some fun looks here by shifting those bubbles and letting them run. A big bubble happening down here. There we go. This is so much fun. If you've got kids that are at home at the moment, like honestly doing this, if you don't mind a little bit of a mess, doing this with the kids, they will absolutely love it. Sharon says she's a regular, but always catch lives. Oh, Beth, you don't know anyone to share. That's okay. If you're on Facebook, just share it back to Facebook, Beth. That's okay. So I'm just going to dry those bubbles off. And you know what? I'm actually going to leave it like that. I actually thought I might have went over it again and did it again, but I think I'm going to leave it like that. So there we've created a really gorgeous background, okay? So layering 2 layers of your watercolor on first and then dropping the drops. You could even, if you wanted to, you could drop some more drops over that again. So I created that one there with us live. This is the one that I created before I came on. So I did a similar thing. I probably had a few more bubbles with this one, but you can see it creates some really, really gorgeous backgrounds. Now you could chop and change your colors and you could mix and match some colors and have a super, super fun time with creating a heap of backgrounds like that. So you could spend a day creating backgrounds, popping them aside, and then the next day actually making some cards out of those gorgeous backgrounds. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to cut this piece of watercolor paper down to match the front of my card, and I'm thinking that I need to work out the size that I have here, which I did that. Okay, so I can do it, yeah, so 5 1/4 by 3 1/2. So I'm just going to take a little bit off this side first because I want to make sure that I've got this more or less in the middle. So we're going to go to 5 1/4, so that looks pretty good. Okay. And then we're going to go to 3 1/2. So what have I got here? So I'm going to take, I don't know, 1 inch off that side. What have I got? Yeah, I can take, I'll take 3/4 of an inch off this side and then 3/4 of an inch off the other side, which will give me 3 1/2. Need to be 5 1/4 by 3 1/2. I think it is there. Okay, is that right? Yes. Okay, now because it's watercolor paper, you can see because it's still a bit damp, because I actually did this just before I jumped on, you can take just a simple emery board, like a nail file, and at the moment, oh yes, they're over there, sorry, oops, okay. So just a simple emery board, and just go along the edges of your cardstock like that, and it takes away those little fluffy bits on the edge of your cardstock. You probably can't see it in the video, but I can see it. And there was no way I was going to pop that onto my pretty peacock layer without doing that. Now, I think what I might want to do is just to make this look even more special in the background is take my Wink of Stella, and I'm actually going to squeeze some of my Wink of Stella into the barrel, which I have, and I'm just going to smack it onto that layer. So I'm going to smack some Wink of Stella all around on that front layer. Now be careful because it goes everywhere, and I've probably now, and I can actually, if I wanted to, drop some drops of Wink of Stella all around. Okay, and that's going to create a really super shimmery background. And I have dropped a big blob there in the middle, but that's totally okay. All right, so I'm then going to, with my chamois, once again, actually I'm going to use this dry chamois. I'm then going to blot that with a dry chamois or a piece of towel, like a maybe a paper towel. Okay. And look at that you have on the front there now. Can you see that gorgeous glimmer and shine? Stunning. All right. So I told you I had some fun stuff here today. Told you I've been playing. Okay. All right. So, okay, so we're going to layer that up onto a piece of Pretty Peacock. Now, I would normally use double-sided tape because we've done watercoloring and because the cardstock is a little bit warped, but I think we should be able to get away with it laying flat on here if we press it down nicely. So I'm just going to wiggle that with that wiggle room, and then I'm just going to hold it flat. There. I know it's so hard, isn't it, not being able to visit people, but you know, we've got this lovely, wonderful world of the internet, so we can stay connected with the internet and have a great time by using the internet. So there we have a gorgeous layer for our card. I've also got a black piece of cardstock that I think I want to layer that up on as well, because I'm going to do a Bermuda Bay card base. So I've got this cut at 5 3/4 by 8 inches, and I'm going to fold that in half. I'm actually going to measure that because it looks a little bit strange. I have some pre-cut card bases, and I don't know what happened at one stage, but I didn't cut them the right sizes. Oh no, it's right. Okay, I'm just second guessing myself. All right, so I'm going to fold that card base in half and crease it with my bone folder. Yes, exactly. Christine's saying that she uses Messenger, and you get together a couple of times a week. Exactly. And you know what? On Messenger, you can do video chat as well. So you can actually video chat and have a great time via video chat as well. So it makes you feel like you're actually really together. I actually got my mum and dad onto Zoom because they were having a bit of a hard time realizing that they can't. I've got 2 brothers that live across the border. So the 2 of my brothers, they realize that they can't see them for, I don't know, maybe 3 months, however long this is going to go on for. So they were a little bit upset about it. And so I got them onto Zoom, and they actually had a Zoom meeting with my brother and his son and his grandson. So that was mum and dad's great grandchildren. So they got to have a video call with them the other night, and they thought it was fantastic. So I've done that. I've also taken the beautiful peacock that we have that is in the dies of this stamp set, and I've created a gorgeous black peacock for the front of the card, which I think is stunning. So I now think I've got to work out what I'm going to do for a sentiment here. So very proud of you. You're incredible. You did it. Here's to an exciting future full of new adventures. Congratulations on such an amazing accomplishment. That sounds really good. Congratulations on such an amazing accomplishment. Let's see if we can find that one there. Okay. So I think I'm actually going to take a piece of, I don't know, are we thinking a black sentiment here with some white embossing? What do you think? Seeing I've got my embossing out, do we want to do that? Although, is it too much if I've got a black peacock? Do you think it's too much to do the sentiment on black? Well, what we'll do is we'll do it on black and we'll do it on Bermuda Bay, and we'll make our decision of what we think we should do. All right, so I'm going to pop that onto a block. I'm going to grab my embossing buddy. Okay, I'm going to grab my Versamark ink that I keep putting back for some reason, and I don't know why I keep putting it back away. Okay, so we're going to ink that up. You do Zoom with your cat, with your family in the UK. I know, it's fantastic, isn't it? I really need to have my mat underneath me. Where did I put my mat? How could I miss that? How could I misplace that so quickly? Where did it go? Anyway, I was going to use my mat, but I can't find it, so I'm just going to have to do it without it and hope and pray that this sentiment turns out all right. Okay, so I've probably got my head in the camera there, but I'm trying to get that straight. Okay, and then I'm going to grab a scrap piece of paper. I can't even find my scrap piece of paper, so obviously it's probably where my mat is. No. Wow, I don't know where that piece mat went. Isn't it amazing how we lose things so easily? Wow. All right, so I'm going to do that. And tap that off. So we've got that. So that looks pretty good. And then I'm going to grab a piece of Bermuda Bay. Bear with me and I'll grab that. There. And we will use the embossing buddy on that. I'm still looking around for my, believe it or not, for my pierce mat that has gone missing. I will find it after the video. You wait. I will find it as soon as... Yep, we always lose things, don't we, Rhonda? Exactly. Wouldn't be crafting if we weren't losing things. All right, so I'm going to stamp that one up there. And we will emboss that with our white embossing powder. There. And I'm thinking, do I want to do Pretty Peacock as well? Do I have a piece of Pretty Peacock here? Have a scrap piece here. Okay, so we'll work out which one we want to use when it comes time. So embossing buddy once again on there. Ink it up with the Versamark. Stamp it up there. I think that's straight. Please tell me it's straight. Oh, no, it's not straight. Hopeless. Let's stamp it down here. That looks straighter. Much better. We'll emboss both because I could probably cut that straighter anyway. All right. So we have 3 little labels to emboss, and we will make a choice of which one we're going to use on the card. All right. So I'll heat that one up. I'll do this one, seeing I did it. This one. And our black one. Okay. All right, so I'm going to use my little trimmer to trim that down. So we'll pop that in and trim that. Like so. So we've got that one. We will trim this one. Like that. I'll leave that one because that's the crooked one, and we'll trim this one. Okay. All right, let's see what's going to look all right with this. So I'm thinking I've got that. Got that. So we have this one. Okay, so I want you to vote. Hey Liz, how you going? I want you to vote. Do we want the pretty peacock? Do we want the Bermuda Bay? Or do we want the black? Type in. No worries, Judy. You've missed a couple of cards, but I'll bring those back in, but you can always watch the replay. So we've got the black, we've got the pretty peacock, or we've got the Bermuda Bay. Okay, Bermuda Bay, pretty peacock, Bermuda Bay. So no one wants the black? No to black. It's the quality, not the quantity. Bermuda Bay, pretty peacock. Okay, so Bermuda Bay or pretty peacock? Bermuda Bay, Bermuda Bay. Okay, looks like Bermuda Bay might be it. Okay, that's the one we're going to use. And I'm thinking... Okay, we might use one of those edging framelets from this gorgeous set just to set it off, I think. So I'm going to use that. And I'm also going to use a piece of glimmer paper. Let me see what I have. Got some silver glimmer paper here. So let's do a piece of this. Let me cut a piece of that with my scissors. So we don't need a big piece. I think just a little piece like that. And we'll cut that out with this gorgeous framelit. So I'll bring the Big Shot in again. Okay. Now, with doing glimmer paper and this framelit, I tend to find that it's best to cut it upside down. So you can see that I've got the cutting blade up, I've got the glimmer paper pushing down into that, and I'll carefully put that on and then I'll wind it through. So the reason that I do that, glimmer paper is a lot thicker than our cardstock, but you will find that it will cut through a lot better when it's upside down. Can you see that? Can you see how well that cut through? Okay, so if you're having trouble with any of the intricate dies, I always turn them upside down. I don't know what it is. It just seems to push up through that a little bit better. And I'll just take all those little pieces out of there. Okay, so we have a little piece to go underneath our sentiment label. All right. Okay, so I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to pop a few glue dots along the bottom of that sentiment label. Okay, where's the glue dots gone? I've lost them now. There they are, up in there. Okay, so I'm going to, where is it there? Pop some glue dots just along that bottom of that sentiment label. The reason I'm using glue dots is it is very hard to get glimmer paper to stick to things. So I've just popped 3 glue dots along there. And then I'm actually going to line this up and, oops, line this up and pop it along underneath. So like that, and pop the glue dot down into it, and like that. Can you see how pretty that is? Look at that. Isn't that gorgeous? Okay, so I'm going to just trim the end off there. Just like that. All right, and I'm going to use some of our gorgeous silver metallic thread. I'll pop that into the stamp set so I don't lose it. Okay, so we've got gorgeous silver metallic thread. So I'm going to pop a little bit of double-sided tape on the back of this. It does make it pop more, doesn't it, Sue? I agree. I think it's just enough to, I don't know, take the plainness off that sentiment layer. Like I just thought with the coloured cardstock and the embossing, it was just not enough. All right, so just popping a little edge, and that's what the border dies in this ornate garden suite are so perfect for. So I'm now going to grab some of our silver metallic thread, and I'm going to wrap that around my hand about, I don't know, 5 or 6 times, something like that. I don't know, that was probably 10 times, but, you know, who's counting? Not me. Okay, hey Nina, how you going? I didn't know you were on. Welcome. All right. So, I'm missing everyone's comments. If I haven't said hello to you this morning, hello and welcome. I'm so sorry when you're doing live video and you get so enthralled in what you're doing, you miss a lot of comments. So I apologize if I've missed comments. I apologize if I haven't said hello to you this morning. So hello and welcome everyone. Okay, so I've got that happening and I'm thinking, look at that. Now, is that not looking gorgeous? All right. So we've got to get our peacock down. He needs to be tamed and he needs to be put onto the front of the card. So I'm going to use glue dots for the peacock as well. So I'm going to pop one under his head. And then you just need to pick parts of his body that you can see that you can probably pop a glue dot in behind and it can be a little bit disguised. You don't really need too many to hold him on the front, but, and I'll probably pop some on his body so that his body stays still. Okay, so I want to pop that over to the outside edge, like so. And then I think I want to pop up my sentiment. So I think we need some dimensionals. Oh no, Jenny, I hope he's okay. Spilling coffee on himself is not good. You guys have been having a rough trot down there, Jenny. All right, so I'm going to pop that on to there. I think about there. Which looks pretty good. I'm going to then glue that onto the front of my card. Okay. That's looking quite nice. Now, do we need a bow? Do you think we need maybe a white baker's twine bow? What do you think? We'll do it and we'll see what we think. We don't have to put it on if we don't think it needs it. But tell me what you think. We'll pop one on and we'll see what you think.